Let's look at the lineup. Rihanna was signed to Jay-Z. Chris Brown wasn't playing ball the way they wanted him to. Why he always putting these whack-ass bitches on men that he can't control, or men that tell him no?
Jaguar Wright just dropped a bomb that's got the whole industry shook. I'm talking secret audio, sick accusations, and a straight-up war against Jay-Z and Roc Nation. But what really got folks whispering? She claims Jay-Z planned the downfall of Chris Brown. And this ain't just beef over music. This goes way deeper. Politics, power, control, and maybe even revenge. And wait until you hear what Jaguar says Beyonce did to make sure Chris Brown never outshines her on tour. Or how Rihanna's entire rise to fame might have been built on something way darker than we ever imagined. We're talking trafficking allegations, blackmail, and a twisted connection between Megan Thee Stallion, Tory Lanez, and Roc Nation. And if what Jaguar's saying is true, Jay-Z might have been cleaning up his messes the same way Diddy's being exposed in court right now. We got leaked audio. We got Chris Brown posting a $6.7 million bail in London. And we got one of the biggest cover-ups possibly unraveling right in front of our eyes. So don't go nowhere. Just a few days ago, Chris Brown was arrested in London. That man was snatched up by authorities and dragged into court for allegedly assaulting someone at a nightclub called Tape in Mayfair. Real exclusive celeb-packed type spot. Now here's where it gets strange. At first, the judge refused bail. They said this was a very serious case. But suddenly, on Wednesday, that decision flipped. Chris was granted release, but not for free. The judge hit him with a wild $6.7 million bail, £4 million immediately, then another £1 million due in 7 days just so he can stay out and go on tour.
He went to court the following morning and the judge said that he was not going to grant the singer bail, and he was subsequently held on remand in a UK prison, we believe in a Manchester prison. Granted that bail for the singer on the condition that the singer pays £4 million up front and a further £1 million in the next week.
And here's the catch. He's only allowed to use his passport for tour purposes only and has to show up in court again on June 20th.
The judge has said he will allow the singer to travel internationally, but he must provide an address here in the UK where he must reside until his next court appearance on June the 20th.
Now, why is that important? Because that tour was about to be huge. Packed venues across Europe, fans screaming, viral TikToks every night. Chris was about to remind the world why he's still one of the greatest performers alive. But guess who's also on tour right now? Yep, Beyonce. Y'all already know Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour hasn't been hitting like her Renaissance run. The buzz is quieter. Some critics are calling it underwhelming. Meanwhile, Chris's tour had fans hyped and tickets flying. Now, peep this. Jaguar Wright is claiming that Beyonce and Jay-Z felt threatened. Not because Chris was better, but because his tour was getting more attention and they couldn't have that. Jaguar even went on record saying they wanted Chris stopped. She allegedly called for Chris Brown's arrest, knowing the press would blow it up and derail his tour momentum.
Why is Chris Brown in jail right now?
Oh yeah, come on.
In London.
Correct. I mean, well, he did hit somebody in the head with a bottle. I mean,
are we sure that that actually happened?
Hey.
Is this confirmed? No, but the timing alone got folks raising eyebrows. Chris gets hit with an arrest, a monstrous bail, and restrictions just days before his major shows in Amsterdam and Germany? Nah, that's not a coincidence. And Jaguar Wright didn't stop there. In an interview with Piers Morgan, Jaguar did not hold back. She straight up said, "For 4 years, I've been screaming not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters." And the victim-making machine kept going on. When Morgan asked why Jay-Z has been silent while Diddy's being taken down in court, Jaguar clapped back with this. Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere and forces everyone to carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Then she said something that sent chills through the whole damn internet. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs. They all got one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. Jaguar claims she's spoken to hundreds of victims, not just of Diddy, but of Jay-Z and Beyonce. People who were allegedly kidnapped, drugged, even put on planes while unconscious. She even brought up Aaliyah, saying Aaliyah got on that plane unconscious, and hinting that Jay-Z knew exactly what happened that day. Now let's talk about Chris Brown and Rihanna, because Jaguar and Chris himself say this all connects back to Jay-Z. You heard of the rumor that Chris Brown alleged that Jay-Z purchased Rihanna from her father in Barbados when she was still a teenager for $500,000? That's right. According to Chris, Rihanna was just 17 years old when Jay-Z allegedly flew her to the US without proper supervision, put her in rooms with adult execs, and started grooming her into a pop star. Brown allegedly claims the relationship between Jay and Rihanna was way more than business. And what's wild, these rumors ain't new. People been whispering about Jay and Rihanna for years. About how Beyonce supposedly had her kicked off Roc Nation, about the elevator fight with Solange, and more. But now, Brown is giving details that sound too real to ignore. He even allegedly says he walked in on Rihanna in a compromising situation at an industry party with Jay-Z and other big names, and that's what really sparked that infamous 2009 fight. But the darkest claim? Chris says Rihanna gave him an STD, and he believes she got it from Jay-Z. I know, that's a crazy accusation, but it lines up with what Jaguar's been saying about industry abuse, cover-ups, and power moves to keep people silent. After the 2009 incident, Chris Brown's career was damn near torched. Radio stations blacklisted him. Award shows stopped inviting him. But guess who still had the power to pull those strings? Roc Nation. And guess who joined Roc Nation after all that? Megan Thee Stallion. Chris Brown recently made headlines by demanding Tory Lanez be released, low-key saying that they are trying to silence certain artists. Jaguar Wright took that and ran with it, saying that by defending Tory, Chris made himself a target. Again, it's no secret Megan is signed to Roc Nation, so when Chris spoke out, the same folks who allegedly protected Megan and worked behind the scenes to bury Tory might have pulled strings to make Chris suffer next. And just like that, Chris got arrested, tour almost canceled, millions lost, reputation dragged. Again, now let's get into the meat of Jaguar Wright's latest claim, the alleged leaked audio that's got the industry nervous. Jaguar says she has recorded conversations between insiders close to Roc Nation that prove Jay-Z was directly involved in orchestrating Chris Brown's arrest overseas. She ain't dropped the full audio yet, probably for legal reasons, but she previewed enough on a live stream that had everybody watching in shock. Y'all really think Chris got arrested in London over some club fight from a year ago? Come on, that man got too much security to just swing on a random dude in Mayfair. This was time. They set him up. And here's where it gets wild. Jaguar says Jay-Z allegedly has a pattern. Eliminate your threats before they reach peak influence. And right now, with Diddy being exposed, Jay's allegedly pulling strings to make sure he don't go down next. Let's not play dumb. For years, people have been comparing Diddy and Jay-Z, not just as moguls, but as handlers of the culture. They both built empires off the backs of young talent. But lately, Jay's been ghost. Diddy's taking all the heat. And Jaguar says that's not by accident. Jay's smart. He moves like a ghost. She allegedly claims Jay-Z fed info to the feds to help take down Diddy as a distraction. And now that Diddy's scrambling, Jay's allegedly tying up every loose end that might connect him to the mess, including Chris Brown. Chris probably knew too much. He's seen too much, and he wasn't playing their game. Jaguar ain't just talking about Jay and Bey. She also named some very powerful industry figures who she says are part of the cleanup crew. Jaguar says these men aren't just executives, they're enforcers. And if someone steps out of line like Chris Brown supposedly did, they'll either erase you or frame you. Now remember, Chris Brown's court date is June 20th. That ain't random either. Jaguar says it's right in the middle of Beyonce's second wave of tour dates and the rumored federal grand jury hearing involving industry sex trafficking investigations, possibly tied to both Diddy and Roc Nation. Jaguar believes this is all connected. If Chris testifies or drops his own evidence, it could set off a domino effect, one that Jay-Z can't stop. So what better move than to cripple him before he gets that chance? Here's where it gets even darker. Jaguar claims Jay-Z keeps insurance files on every artist he's ever worked with. Video, audio, contracts, even intimate footage. This blackmail tactic isn't new in the music industry. Clive Davis allegedly used it. So did Diddy. And according to Jaguar, Jay-Z perfected it. What's scary is how many celebs have gone ghost ever since Jaguar started speaking again. Jaguar says they're all waiting, watching, trying to figure out who's next to get exposed. According to Jaguar Wright and sources close to Chris Brown, that whole 2009 incident between Chris and Rihanna wasn't about a text. It wasn't just about a jealous argument in the car. Jaguar claims Chris Brown walked in on something at an industry party, something involving Rihanna, Jay-Z, and a couple other powerful execs that allegedly left him shocked, furious, and feeling betrayed. Y'all remember how fast it happened? After 2009, Chris Brown went from the next Michael Jackson to industry outcast. Award shows dropped him. Radio stopped playing him. Even artists that collabed with him before stopped mentioning his name. Let's pause and really sit with this. Jaguar has repeatedly said that Aaliyah's death wasn't just an accident. She believes the plane crash was a cover-up and that Aaliyah was being trafficked and silenced after learning too much. Now she's comparing Rihanna's silence to Aaliyah's fate. That's not just speculation, that's a warning. Jaguar even hinted that Beyonce knew about what happened to Aaliyah, that she benefited from Aaliyah being gone, the same way she benefited from Rihanna keeping quiet. And that brings us to Beyonce's alleged grooming front. For years, Beyonce's Parkwood Entertainment has run talent programs for young female artists, girls like Chloe X Halle, who were just teenagers when they signed. Jaguar's accusation? Those programs ain't about music, they about control. Beyonce brings them in young. She allegedly teaches them to worship her. And then Roc Nation does what they always do, use them. Now if that's true, then Beyonce ain't just a bystander. She's the blueprint, the new Ghislaine. At this point, it ain't just about beef. This is about decades of alleged abuse, coercion, and trafficking being tied to the most powerful couple in music. Jaguar Wright is putting everything on the line. Her safety, her career, her freedom to expose what she says is a global ring hiding behind the Grammys, the Super Bowl, and billion-dollar tours. And Chris Brown, whether you like him or not, he might be the key witness to bringing it all down. We've talked about Jay-Z's alleged obsession with control, Beyonce's alleged role in grooming young female artists, and how Chris Brown may have seen and experienced things that made him a target from day one. But now it's time to look at the bigger picture, because according to Jaguar Wright and several new voices stepping forward, the entire Roc Nation empire might be hanging by a thread, and what's coming might take down more than just Jay and Bey. One of the biggest patterns Jaguar keeps highlighting is how Roc Nation allegedly sabotages artists the moment they show signs of independence. Now let's circle back to this court date, June 20th. Some folks still think this is just about the London Club case, but behind the scenes, Jaguar says this might actually be about something way bigger. She says Chris has been contacted, not just by lawyers, but by federal investigators connected to the same task force that's been taking down Diddy's crew. Y'all remember how that broke apart? The same team that raided Diddy's mansions is now building cases against Roc Nation insiders. Chris might be more than a defendant. He might be a witness. Could that be why he's under surveillance right now? Why his passport is restricted? Why this bail deal was crafted so carefully? They don't want him to run, but they also don't want him to speak. If even half of what Jaguar is saying is true, this is the beginning of the end for one of the most powerful dynasties in modern music history. Jay-Z went from the Marcy Projects to billionaire mogul. Beyonce went from Destiny's Child to the most celebrated black woman in pop culture. But what if they didn't build that legacy on talent alone? What if it was built on silence, secrets, and stepping on the necks of people like Chris Brown? We might never get the full truth, but the walls are closing in. The stories are leaking. The victims are talking, and Chris, he's still standing. After everything, if you're still here, thank you for watching. Drop a comment below. Let me know what you believe. Do you think Jaguar's telling the truth? Is Chris Brown the key to unlocking the real story behind Jay-Z and Beyonce's empire? Hit that like button and subscribe.